Hello everyone, and welcome back into another WARNO deck deep dive. The top 5 video for the community has been pushed to next week as we just got the drop for the Steel Division 2 divisions in the next DLC put on us, and I had to record a lot there and also big stream. So if you want to check that out, it's all on the second channel with the upcoming divisions there. Check that out if you want to get some Steel Division 2 content. And yeah, let's jump into a division that I haven't touched in a while, and that really currently plays pretty well again, finally. And that is the 11th parachutist airborne division of the French. And yeah, let's jump in here into the action. The French bias, let's see if it's real or if it's not real. Logistics step already starts to suffer, as you pay 5 points extra for forward deploy on a logistics truck. That doesn't really help you. Not the strongest step for this division. The Puma Kangaroo also not the most efficient supply helicopter, but okay in that regard. Really, the supply truck is just feels this should come for free. It's not impactful if you have forward deploy or not on your supply truck, so please, Eugen, take that tax away. That 5 points is pretty pricey tax there. At least you can sell them, so it's not terrible, but it's still painful. P4 PC here, solid 3 availability leader, together with our infantry tab leaders here, with the Sapper Para, which can also come with forward deploy, unlike the P4, so you can capture some forward deploy zones with these guys, and quickly. It gives us 5 leaders, so it's on the lower end. You have to be careful there. But the rest of the infantry tab, really strong. 55 infantry units here, most with pretty high veterancy, as we have some airmobiles here on 1 vet, and Super Pumas with the amazing Apilas. Apilas is a super big strong point of this division. We get more Apilas here on the Legionnaire Para, which also come with the Resolute and the Shock trait here. Some strong forward deploy infantry, Apilas, Farmers, and yeah, General, just a pretty strong infantry unit here. Chasseur Para with a bit cheaper for holding the flanks here. LRC F1 is the cheaper weapon here. They are a bit better at just fighting infantry actually, but the LRAC is obviously a weaker weapon than the Apilas, so you want to bring them into different spots here. Superflam, still relatively good, not as amazing as it had been in the past, but the flamethrower still helps out pinning down enemies, and that helps out in forced fights, in town fights, to win the infantry fights. So you want to mix them in with the other French units, which create that death zone against vehicles around them, and then the flam is what wins you the infantry fights. For example, with the Gruppe Antichar here, availability pretty low nowadays, and price maybe even a bit too high for what they do for flamethrowers, but still a pretty solid unit. Gruppe Antichar, the double Apilas, it's the strongest anti-tank team in the game, and it's super good. It's super important for this division as well, but it gives you the short-range delete power to really deal with any BMPs. Anything that comes into your force just gets deleted. Even any heavy tank has to be worried to get too close to you, because they won't survive too long here, and they immediately get stunned as well, as the suppression on the Apilas is fantastic as well. So really, the infantry tab blocks stuff down, and it does that really well. The Milan 2, key. You need the ATGMs to deal good damage and to block longer ranges. You don't have any infantry with ATGMs, which is one of its weaknesses. No infantry squad based ATGMs, so Milan 2 pretty important. Reservists here just for holding ground, just for bringing around, and maybe having in front of your better infantry to be able to hold ground and just have some buddies there that the enemy has to deal with. Outside of that, this infantry is basically of no combat value, but it's disheartened. It doesn't really have much firepower here, but it does the job pretty well by just sitting there and basically being extra stuff that the enemy has to grind through, and that you can use as an early warning system or as extra buddies in a town fight. Artillery, we have some 105mm just for trying to pick off enemy positions and helping out, but they're not going to be used super often. Can be long range smoke as well, though the mortar is going to be used more. The BMP mortar here could be an option as well. It's actually relatively similar in price, so that's something worth considering. Both are forward deployable, but the extra price change here is quite nice. And this is only an 81mm mortar. That's like the issue here. So the 120 actually dealing some decent enough damage extra. So, and has some extra range as well. So 120 feels a bit better. Then we come to the Sagais, which are the most important unit now since the last patch in this division. When it comes to why this division is good again now, and that thing with 2075 meter is just such a sniper. The difference between 2100 and 2275 meter for a vehicle with such little frontal armor is massive, and they really, with a 15 penetration gun with decent accuracy, can be used so well to snipe enemy BMPs, to get side shots on enemy tanks, and all of that. Great optics and stealth here for tank type unit as well, so that you can hide them a bit and they can spot for themselves decently as well to find enemy BMPs and so on. And that really allows these units to deal damage to assist your quick pushes. And then the P4 Milan, absolutely key as well for that ATGM that can deal with enemies, putting that together with the guys, or putting that into forests on the sideline to get some good ATGM shots. Really key as well. So really key combo of snipers. They can't fight at all. You never want to be shot at when you use these guys. But for example, bullying basic T55s or T54s from long range, or anything else like Leo 1A1s from long range can work out really well. So, and with side shots, they deal damage to everything, so you can really cover a lot of ground with them, whilst the enemy might not even be able to see them. And then with their high speed, they can exploit a push if necessary as well, though that always is really risky. Recon is pretty strong as well. You get some recon helicopters. Actually, as soon as these guys get better optics, I would change them in for the Gazelle Cannon, because with 40 ECM and the extra ability, they will be better than the Gazelle Cannon. For now, I'm sticking with this thing. Outside of that, you get great special forces. That's another. That's a unit that is super important for you to win early infantry fights. Special forces straight power SAS here with solid weapon loadout. The satchel charges helping out as well, and then the VBL Milan, another extra Milan 2 to deal with enemy armored vehicles, and AML 90 Lynx, a strong unit as well to try to deal with enemy armor on and enemy vehicles. Good in a formation with your ERCs to have something with better optics. So the very good optics there are really helpful, and that really helps you seeing enemy ambushes and so on. And the ML90 Lynx, for sure, a strong recon vehicle to be used with these other units there. So a good unit there as well. The others here, not as great. The 60mm mortar here, not doing much. The VBL recon, not really having the impact with its 50 cal. But yeah, the special forces with the SAS and the ML Lynx, pretty nice. No GSR on these, which is a bit unfortunate, but outside of that, a really strong recon tab there. Paramistral finally being buffed again really makes a difference as well, as that gives you good manpad power again, the strongest manpads in the game. The Mistrals, decent anti-air range, fantastic anti-helicopter range, 65% accuracy with 5 damage is really good. And they at least come in with decent enough veterancy base level. You don't want to really upvet them because you need all the ones you get, because they are pretty key for you to win air fights and deal with enemy helicopters. So Mistral's pretty key and pretty solid by now again. Helicopter-wise, Gazelle Hots for the extra ATGM. You need to deal with enemy. You win infantry fights with your own infantry and with the support of ARCs maybe, or the ML90. What you need to deal with is enemy armor, and that's where the Gazelle Hots come in. They can hold a flank, they can help out in a push when the enemy doesn't afford themselves some AA yet, or you killed off the AA with your infantry or something like that, and then the Gazelle Hot can come and swoop in and push the enemy armor back, just zoning them out, and they are cheap enough for in doing that they are worthwhile. Baiting out enemy fighters sometimes as well, which can be nice to bait them down onto your Mistral level and deal with them there. And then an important tab, obviously, as always, for an air deck is the for an airborne deck is the air deck. And here you have pretty solid fighters, though not the greatest, and that's an issue. The Mirages are pretty okay, especially Mirage 2000 has decent enough accuracy and 30% ECM, so it is a solid fighter, but it's outclassed by a couple of others, like the MiG-29s, like the Su-27s, the Tornadoes, the F-15s, all outclass it by a good bit, and F-16s and co are pretty comparable in their power at killing other stuff. So, and the Mirage F1C is even a bit weaker because its long-range missiles are relatively inaccurate and it has low ECM. So you get beaten by those planes quite often, and that's an issue because you need to keep air superiority. You don't have long-range AA, and you also want to get your attack aircraft through, which are all really strong. The good thing about them is they also mostly bring air-to-air missile. Your seed plane brings some magics, and you get some magics here on the Jaguar and the Mirage LGB as well, which if you get into the later stages and you can just darken out the sky, really helps on winning against any potential enemy interceptor that try to block you. But yeah, the direct air superiority fighter matchup sometimes can be tough, especially if you're fighting F-15s, but even against Tornadoes and so on, it can be tough sometimes. And yeah, that brings us also to the strengths and weaknesses of this deck. Obviously, massive strength is the infantry tab itself and the forward deploy. You can basically win most early fights in the infantry segment. Thanks for the follow there. That's just Gurvina coming in right as we're recording this. We're saying this, much appreciated. Superb Flum and co really give you a great strength, and especially dealing with and pushing away enemy vehicles with the Apilas is strong. You are really fast as well with your AML-90s, your VBL, and your ERC, so you're really fast and agile. And you have good air support. The weaknesses of the deck is obviously a lack of staying power, as you don't have anything with armor. A lack of strong air superiority fighters to secure air superiority throughout the game, and the lack of an attack helicopter to bring fire support with HE quickly to a sideline. At least they aren't as important as they have been before, but it's still a weakness in comparison to other airborne decks where you get a strong air superiority fighter. So those are the strengths and weaknesses of the deck. It's really even more focused on its infantry than other airborne decks, where air support and helicopter support plays a lot of a role. But at least it has a vehicle with a cannon that is pretty strong, unlike 35th, and even the Sheridan is weaker than the ERC here in 80 seconds. So the ERC 90 for sure a key component of this whole deck again now. With that said, guys, I hope to see you next time. We're gonna see each other in the next ranked game with this division. And thanks for watching. Leave a like and a comment if you want to see more of this. And have a great day. Bye bye.